Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wa salatu wa salam ala Rasulillahi wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in wa ba'd. Alright, so we continue inshallah where we left off. So he said, وَأَلْحَظُ أَحْوَالَ الزَّمَانِ بِمُقْلَةٍ بِهَا صِدْقٌ وَالْكِذَابُ كِذَابُ. So the first part is kind of interesting because he said, here, he said, وَأَلْحَظُ. He said, وَأَلْحَظُ, and this comes from the word لَحَظَ, يَلْحَظُ. And of course, the majority of the people that understand the Arabic language, they know لاحظ يلاحظ, to notice something. All right, so the mulahadha, it comes from this word lahadha yalhadhu, and according to the dictionary, it means another ilayhi bi mu'akhir al-ayn, and yamin wa yasar. Okay, so it's not, he's kind of like glancing over from the left to the right at the person, and this is the lahadha. All right, so he's kind of like looking, but he's to perceive things, to take in, like, you know how a person would walk and take in their surroundings to understand what's going on. So he's not like focusing in that way, but he's kind of like looking peripherally to where he can see and just know his surroundings and know what's going on. So he said, وَأَلْحَظُ أَحْوَالَ الزَّمَانِ, the situations that are going on in my time. The ahwal, the changing of the people and what's going on. All right, and the ahwal, it comes from the word hal, and the hal is the situation or what the people are going through. All right. Or you could say even circumstances, the circumstances that the people are living through. He said, وَالْحَظُ أَحْوَالَ الزَّمَانِ بِمُقْلَةٍ. So the word muqla is actually the word for ayn. It's the complete eye. All right, the complete eye. So this is the muqla, the muqlatun. So he's saying, like, basically I perceive the circumstances of what's going on in my time with an eye, with an eye that's focused, that's focused on these things. And what do you say? بِمُقْلَةٍ بِهَا الصِّدْقُ صِدْقٌ. Where I see truth as being truth, وَالْكِذَابُ كِذَابٌ. And falsehood as being falsehood. So I see things for what they are, and I perceive things for as they are. Because you see, the majority of the people nowadays, unfortunately, Wallahu musta'an, is that they see the truth as being falsehood, and the falsehood as being truth. And of course, this came in a hadith. The Prophet ﷺ says, سيأتي على الناس سنوات خداعات يصدق فيها الكاذب ويكذب فيها الصادق ويؤتمن فيها الخائن ويخون فيها الأمين وينطق فيها الرويبضة. قيل وما الرويبضة؟ قال الرجل التافه يتكلم في أمر العامة. So he said, سيأتي على, so a time will come upon the people, سنوات, years and years of خداعات, where it's just like treachery and deceit. يصدق فيها الكاذب, where the liar will be believed. He'll be believed, and they'll say he's the truthful one. فيها الكاذب ويكذب فيها صادق, and the truthful person will be told that he's a liar, and the people will be told that the truthful person is telling a lie. ويؤتمن فيها الخائن, and the treachery and the deceitful person will be trusted. ويخون فيها الأمين, and then the trustworthy person will be, he will be like told that, the people say, no, he's treacherous, he's deceiving the people. وينطق فيها الرويبضة, and then the رويبضة, and they're going to talk, they're going to have a voice in this time. Allahu musta'an. Sounds familiar, right? Welcome to 2022. So he said, وما الرويبضة؟ قال الرجل تافه. تافه, it means like insignificant. ليس له أي شأن. Like you see, like all these people that are talking about the politics and they're talking about all this stuff, but wallahi, they have no nothing. Nobody of any importance will listen to them. They don't, when they talk. It's just for themselves. All they do is promote themselves. They have no nothing. I mean, their followers are just normal people, so they're not changing anything. الرجل تافه يتكلم في أمر العامة. So you got this insignificant person that talks about all the affairs of the general populace. Politics and current events and all this foolishness that you see nowadays. Allahu musta'an. So this is the Rawaybidah. And this is the time that we live in, at a time where, truth is perceived as falsehood and falsehood is perceived as truth. And of course, this is going to happen until the coming of the Dajjal, because that's what the Dajjal does. Taqlib al-haqa'iq. So Allahu musta'an. So he said that. He said, وَالْحَظُ أَحْوَالَ الزَّمَانِ بِمُقْلَةٍ بِهَا الصِّدْقُ صِدْقٌ وَالْكِذَابُ كِذَابٌ. And this is the way I see things. I perceive things as they are. I see truthfulness as being truthfulness and falsehood as being falsehood. And then he went on to say, بمن يثق الإنسان فيما ينوبه ومن أين للحر الكريم صحابه. So he said, بمن يثق الإنسان. يثق, it comes from وثق يثق. All right, it means to trust, to put your trust in. So who is going, like, who is he going to be able to trust? فيما ينوبه. And the meaning of naba here is not what, because naba, it has different meanings according to the usage. A lot of the times whenever they talk about this, whenever they use this word in poetry, it means al-masa'ib. You know, yusibuhu, tusibuhu al-masa'ib. So fima yunubuhu. So he's talking about all the things that befall him in this time that he's living in. Who is he going to find to trust? You know, because you see what he's talking about, like how the people have become, and he's going to continue to talk about that, and he's going to get in more detail about how the people of his time have become. So he's like, now who's the person to trust in this time with all the things that befall him? So this goes back to, like I said, the meaning of here, naba yanubu. All right, this is noban wa nobatan. All right, so it has actually no, I'm sorry, the noban wa nobatan, that has to put somebody as an agent, or to like they speak on your behalf. He's like a naib. But the meaning that I'm looking for, I'm sorry, is naba yanibu. All right, it's naiban fahuwa naibul jama' nawab. All right, and this is a rajulu asabahu nabahu nabatu al-daraba. So a rajulu asaba, you know, the things that befall you. Okay, so then he went on to say, وَمَنْ أَيْنَ لِلْحُرِّ الْكَرِيمِ صِحَابُ. And where can al-hur obviously it means that he's a free person. He's free, that he hasn't been enslaved. Al-Karim is that he's noble. You know, he's like a noble free man. Where can he find sihabu? Where can he find these ashab? You know, these close companions, the people that can accompany him in his life, that he can trust. Because he's looking, like I said, he's looking at the time where everybody's just following their desires. Everybody's seeing things the opposite of what they are. It's just as you see today, where like the majority of the people, they see truth as falsehood and falsehood as truth. They follow their desires, and they're not concerned about doing anything great. So he's like, now what about this noble person now? Where can he find friends now? Because everybody now has taken on the character traits of just the animal desires. You know, they're no longer trying to like reach that high stage of, you know, how could I say this? Like, you know, high lofty goals and ambitions and achieving great things. Everybody now, all they want to do is just either they're chasing after girls, or they're just acting foolish. They're using people for their own desires, and once they get bored with them, they leave them. And he's gonna say even more, Allahu musta'an. But it's just like for that type of person now, living in this time, where can he find friends? Like, where can he find companions? So then he went on to say, وَقَدْ صَارَ هَذَا النَّاسُ إِلَّا أَقَلَّهُم ذِئَابٍ عَلَى أَجْسَادِهِنَّ ثِيَابُ. He said this is وَقَدْ صَارَ هَذَا النَّاسُ إِلَّا أَقَلَّهُم. Except for the very, 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 very small minority of the people, they've all become wolves. Ala ajsadihinna thiyabu, like wolves in clothing. Wolves in clothing. And of course you could say like how we say in English, you know, wolves in sheep's clothes. But I mean their characteristics and how they deal with people like they're just a wolf. They're just ready to pounce on you as soon as they see any type of weakness. And he said this is the way that waqasara. Sara, it means like asbaha. They become. So the people have become, except for a very small minority, the abun. The abun is the plural form of dhi'b, which is a wolf. Ala ajsadihinna, all right, you know, and upon their bodies, thiyabu, that they have clothing. So they're just clothed wolves. That's how the people are. They don't have that type of humanity. They don't have these noble characteristics anymore. Allahumma musta'an. And then he said, تَغَابَيْتُ عَنْ قَوْمِي فَظَنُّوا غَبَاوَتِي بِمَفْرَقِ أَغْبَانٍ حَصَنْ وَتُرَابُ. Now, taghaba, it means to feign or to pretend that you're stupid, but you're not really stupid. He said, تَغَابَيْتُ عَنْ قَوْمِي. So he said, I pretended to be stupid with my people. فَظَنُّوا غَبَاوَتِي. And they thought that I was like, you know, they really, really thought I was that stupid, right? So he said, بِمَفْرَقِ. Here, mafraq, it refers to the head. All right, it's the part of the head where the hair is parted, where you part your hair in the middle of your head. This is called the mafraq al-ras. Mafraq al-ras. All right, so he said, so what he's saying, he said, تغابيت عن قومي فظنوا غباوتي. So I pretended to be stupid amongst my people, and they thought that my stupidity, they thought that I was like, they thought that I really had stupidity, right? But then he said, بمفرق أغبانا. He said in the top of the head, which is basically the crown of the head. I guess they would translate it into English, but in the Arabic they translate it in English as the crown. But the mafraq, because that's the place where you faraqa, where you part your hair. So there's like a mafraq, for sha'r, right? So he said on the crown of the head of the most stupid from amongst us. He said, بمفرق أغبانا حصن وتراب. So he's basically saying like dirts and pebbles be on the head of the most stupid, because he's saying like basically I played you guys. You thought I was stupid, but you were, and he's making like this type of dua that made dirt and pebbles be upon the most stupid from amongst us, because then he's gonna tell you who the real stupid people are, because he was only feigning stupidity so he can understand the true nature of his people. Because see, the thing is if the people, they look at you as somebody that they fear or they respect, you won't ever see the true nature of them. But if you act stupid or poor or anything that they don't desire, then you start to see the true nature of people. And once he understood the true nature of people, then he could deal with them accordingly. Now he knows who he can trust and who he can't trust. But if you come out and you just like, Mr. Smart, Mr. Intelligent, Mr. Rich, whatever, you have all these things that the people desire, they'll never show you their true face. They will never show you their true face. So he said, but after this, so he said, تغابيت عن قومي فظنوا غباوتي بمفرق أغبانا حصن وتراب ولو عرفوني حق معرفتي بهم. Now, Allah. And he said, if they knew me the way that I knew them, like the truth that I knew about them, because like I said, he played stupid. So he knew the reality of the people. He knew, but they didn't know him, because he never showed them his true self. He showed them what they didn't desire. So he knows them, but they don't know him. So he said, if they, وَلَوْ عَرَفُونِي, if they knew me as just as truly as I know them, because I know them now, I know their reality. إِذَنْ عَلِمُوا أَنِّي شَهِدْتُ وَغَابُوا. And then they'll realize, and then they'll know, they'll come to the understanding that I was the one that was present the whole time in mind and watching them. Hum ghabu. They were in the ghafla, they were in the heedlessness, and they were like revealing too much of themselves that they didn't want to reveal, because they didn't know who he was and what he was about. So, Allah musta'an. Beautiful, beautiful. So, وَلَوْ عَرَفُونِي حَقَّ مَعْرِفَتِي بِهِمْ إِذًا عَلِمُوا أَنِّي شَهِدْتُ وَغَابُوا. They were the ashab al-ghafla. They were the people that were heedless, and they didn't know what was going on, but he was the one that he was just playing stupid the whole time just to know what they were truly about. And then the next line, inshallah, which will be the last line, he's going to talk about like wisdom in dealing with different situations. So he said, وَمَا كُلُّ فَعَالٍ يُجَازَ بِفِعْلِهِ وَلَا كُلُّ قَوَّالٍ لَدَيَّ يُجَابُ. So when we're dealing with situations, and he says, وَمَا كُلُّ فَعَالٍ يُجَازَ بِفِعْلِهِ. Now the jaza is like a reward. Now it can be, if you do a good action, you get a good reward. All right, a good jaza. If you do a bad action, then jaza is something bad. Something bad will happen to you. So the yujaza bifi'lihi, according to what he's doing. So he said not every single person. Fa'al is another. We go back to that sighatul mubalagha. Fa'al is it is fa'al, which is a sighatul mubalagha of the people who do actions. So not every single person that does an action will get a reward for it. You don't reward every single person for everything that they do. So everything has to be in an appropriate place at appropriate time. Now, of course, we know what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is just, we're human beings. So sometimes we just have to ignore things. We have to ignore people. But of course, everything that you do in this life, either you're going to get a good reward or a bad reward, based on your action and your intention. If your intentions are correct, and your action is in accordance with the Quran and the Sunnah, based on the two conditions of any type of worship being accepted, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give you a good reward for it. But if you do something bad and you disobey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you do something that's not in accordance to the Quran and the Sunnah, which is bid'ah, or you do things that are not from ikhlas, which is a form of shirk, you're doing things for other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then Allah musta'an, then you get the reward for what you did. So this is the person, he'll be recompensed or he'll be rewarded based on his actions. But what he's saying, as far as amongst amongst people, one human to another, is not every single thing you pay attention. Sometimes you just have to ignore things. And he said, وَلَا كُلُّ قَوَّالٍ لَدَيْهِ يُجَابُ. And not every single thing that a person says, not every statement, or the person that talks, I'm gonna answer. Because some people, if you sit there and you just answer every single statement from people, you're gonna tire yourself out. Especially the people that always got something stupid to say. If you sit back and try to answer the people that have something stupid to say all the time, wallahi, you spend your whole life doing just that. And that's a statement from amongst the Arabs from before, from poetry. In fact, he said, لو كل كلب عوى ألقمته حجرا لأصبح الصخر مثقالا بدينار. Allah musta'an. And he's saying, if every single dog that howled in the night, which basically he's referring to the people that just run their mouths and say something bad. The kelb here is referring to the hasud, the people that hasad, the people that have jealousy of you. So if لو كل كلب عوى ألقمته حجرا, and they say like ألقم حجرا, if you defeat a person and you provide like a strong argument against a person. But the word alqama just to give something for somebody to eat, to feed him. So if you were to like just feed him a hajar, a rock, every single time that they howled, every time that the dog howled, you throw a rock at him, you throw a rock to him, right? L'asbaha sakhru, like the rocks now, mithqalan bidinari, like each mithqal would be sold. The little pieces of the rock will be sold like by a dinar, which means that an extravagant price for a rock, for a little piece of a rock, right? Because we'd run out of rocks because we keep throwing them at the dogs every time they howl. So the same thing, if you were to throw a rock at each idiot that opened his mouth and spoke something stupid, then you'd end up, the rocks themselves would cost too much money for us to even be able to buy anymore, because we'd start running out of rocks to throw. So Allah musta'an. So what he's saying here is like, not every single person that does an action I'm gonna notice and take focus on it and reward that person for it. And not every single statement from each person that talks I'm gonna answer. Yeah, it's based on hikmah. So you have to look at the situation, and each because hikmah is putting something in its proper place at its proper time. And everything has a proper place and a proper time. So some people if they say something that needs to be refuted, you refute them. Because it's because of them causing a danger amongst the people. But other people, if you don't refute them and you just let them run their mouths, then they just nobody really pays any attention to them. But if you refute them, now the people start to validate that person. So certain people you don't talk about. You just leave it. So other people you got to answer, and some people you just leave it. It's all based on wisdom and looking at the situation and what's beneficial for the people, what's beneficial for you, and what's beneficial for the Muslims. Because first off, we're responsible for ourselves, and then we're responsible for the people around us, our family, and then al-aqrab fal-aqrab. Allah musta'an. Wa ila huna subhanaka Allahumma wa bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk.